Hello, people. I'm Detroit Miracle. Yes, and indeed. Right now, I am here to discuss crazy. Yeah, a favorite topic of mine as well. Why do people assume that all crazy people get along with themselves? Why do people presume that all crazy people are friends with each other? Rather, why do people presume that? People think that all crazy people can get along peacefully and coexist and go out to have friendly picnics and commiserations. People assume and presume that craziness does it that way. Now, look, I'm here to reveal that crazy people are not going to get along with each other just because they're crazy. Because when a person is crazy, then they suffer from all type of detachment emotions. It's like you fighting against detachment stuff, disorders. You're fighting against loneliness, depression. Because if a crazy person is smart enough to know that they are not like normal people, in other words, so crazy people can distinguish between crazy as they are crazy or presumed to be crazy. They can distinguish between them and the quote unquote normal type of people who are not crazy. Like somebody would say, how do you know who's crazy or who isn't? Well, you're trained and conditioned to study behaviors, to study and read personalities. Like the body has its own language, people. The body has a language and it is readable. The body, the spirit, the soul. You can go by anyone's behavior patterns, characteristic traits, their very personality, the sum total, and read that, and you can determine that they're not visibly crazy. And if they are crazy, they appear to have it under wraps where they can cleverly appear to be sane, normal, and rational and not crazy. So if a person has that type of control over his or her own craziness where they can shelf it, keep it hidden and secretive, then you would say craziness doesn't necessarily have to have a victory over anybody. You say for instance, like that person who contained their type of craziness and they don't appear crazy, act crazy, and it doesn't show in their character traits, then that's obviously a method to defeat crazy. If people can have it all together to do that. No, some might say, how is that even possible? Well, a crazy person has a discernible mind too, and they can read people also. They can read many different personalities, but somehow they do not care enough to try to apply them to their characteristics and behavior patterns. It's like take all of the good, all of the benefits that you see in others as an inspiration and apply it to yourself like that. And I know I'm talking about crazy people in general, but I'm not trying to really talk about crazy people because everybody in general is probably crazy anyway. Hey, people, you have to be a percentage of crazy because a high percentage of non-crazy insane, being sane, rational, and no crazy, you would come to terms with certain things that you would definitely find horrifying. Yeah, like earlier I said, people presume that all crazy people can get along, but where you see people like that are unreasonable, like fighting wars, doing large numbers of killings, and to say those people we know cannot be reasonable, and their craziness have led them down that dark path where they remain. And not all crazy people seek out confliction. Like, some are passive and regular. They don't mind having a good time without violence, war and strife. So all crazy isn't pertaining to maniacal, homicidal, destructive, violent, and otherwise. All those type of crazies don't necessarily, like in as many types as I have said, you know. But yeah, sane, logical, rational people do not get along with each other. So why would crazy people get along with each other, which would be other crazy people? Because if you're sane and rational and you can't come to reasonable civil terms and you go off and do some crazy stuff, both parties involved, then apparently you're choosing that route to be crazy that way, but not necessarily crazy in other ways. But that the logical, rational minded are deemed to be non-crazy, who fight wars, who actually implement them, that obviously result in mass killings. Yeah, which is a form of craziness in itself. It is controlled craziness. Like, a lot of times when some companies make weapons or something, they got to see how it works. They want to see, yeah, people, that's the thing about guns too. When people make guns, manufacturers, gun makers, gun builders, eventually they want to find out how those weapons work. So, like, little skirmishes and conflicts are a good way to determine how those weapons work. But a full-scale war really shows you how those weapons work. So in people, when you have enough of this, enough of that, you're going to want to see how it works. You're going to want to know what is the full use value out of it. Yeah, and yeah, even crazy people in war situations that start war fighting and get enjoyment out of it think like that in ways. They want to know how those weapons work. They want to hear and see the bombs blow up. They want to, then once you see it blow up, hey, this is a good weapon. It works. Like, in other words, you want to see the stuff working, and not just in a test type of situation where you're shooting at targets that don't shoot back or move. Yeah, folks. Yeah. Yeah, so with craziness in itself, and you can determine what appears to be very crazy and not crazy. Like some of it of the non-crazy may be contained. So that's an indication that there might be crazy persons on both sides. There might be crazy people that are visibly crazy, and there might be crazy people that are masking as sane, rational thinking people. So it's like, I know it's craziness on both sides and everywhere. But nevertheless, the people that are able to mask it in their own personal wars and struggles can find that they can gain victories over their craziness by containing that. And those are the ones that are secretive crazy compared to the ones that are visibly crazy, like the ones walking up and down the street talking crazy, telling crazy stories. Like, everybody be looking like, man, why is they running down there yelling that? Why is he crazy enough to be telling people that? That ain't even exciting news, really. It ain't. Then it's like you profiteering off of bad news, to be seen. Like, crazy people don't realize that. Like, if you run down the block telling everybody that they won $1 million, then you're telling them something essential to their very being and livelihood. So in other words, telling them what they want to hear. But if you tell them anything